Hey, all right, what's going on? This is Neil with Simple Trading and the Voodoo Mastery. And let's start with this volume profile for the ES futures. I can't do a volume profile for SPX, so I do it on ES. And here's what we got. We've got for the week, you can see the red line right there that is marking the most elongated part of this histogram, which is the volume point of control for the week, and that is at 64.71, and that's about what it's trading right now at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon for the RTH close, which is exactly what we said we thought it would close at today. By the way, we're like, yeah, probably, I don't know, about 72-ish right in there. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, all right, so balance this, so it goes out on balance. That's long story made short. It's going out right on balance. All right, so here we go. Let's go to the daily, or even weekly. Let's go weekly. Let's go to a weekly chart. And all right, what I did was I went ahead and took the high-low close, add, divide by 3 for the week, and projected for weekly pivot for next week. It's going to be 64.75. This week was 64.47, and we wanted to see it come down and tag that and really try to kind of see it and really not trade much below like 30, which is what it did. It went right to 30. And, you know, we had that discussion in the trade room and everything. But, and that, oh, by the way, that was based on, if you remember last Friday, the Powell speech, okay, that is the low this week is the midpoint of that daily candle. And so that's why we wanted that to hold. That was perfect. It was right on the mid, half back of that benchmark reference candle that we talked about, last week. All right. So, made a new all-time high this week. Went to the 05s in the SPX, which, remember, is the short strike on that JPM collar for the September, quarterly. Got to remember that. On the SPX, which was about 20 in the ES and 05 on the SPX. And then we know, write this down, remember it. We know that the Friday before this long weekend of Labor Day is historically, it is highly reliable that it is a bearish day. So we left yesterday going into today with a plan that, hey, we got to get ready for Friday to be a little bearish. And it wasn't bad. I mean, it traded 6,500 down to 64.55 or something, which was our bear target, by the way. Let me show you that, actually. Right there. That's what we set up for today. Using 6,500 as our line in the sand over under for a 64.55 target. Well, T1 was 71 because balance, right? It's labeled that. It's labeled high volume, right? And now what I have to do now is I have to change this to, it's not a HVN anymore. It was actually the volume point of control. So now I'll relabel that to volume point of control. That was a target on the way down today for that reason. And then below it was another, if I need to go back to the volume chart, I can. I'll show you. HVN. It was really pronounced too at 55, and that ended up being the low today. So that was pretty good, obviously. So, and then goes from there up to close out at the 70s for the weekly point of control, like we just talked about. This is stuff we do in the room, like all day, every day. So that was a really good plan. And by the way, our plan yesterday was really good too. Let me just show you that too. This is like remarkable couple of days, really pretty good. Yesterday we used this 80 right there. We used 6,500 yesterday also, over under. We used this 80 right there as our bear target on, because it was the point of control. Now that's an HVN. So I'll relabel that to HVN. That was our bear target yesterday. And bull target was 20. Well, it traded 23 on the high. That's pretty good. Okay. That's not bad. And the reason is because that is the equivalent to the SPX 6505, which is the short strike on that JPM collar for the September quarterlies. So that made that a good target, I thought. All right, now here's what we want to see, I think, now, and that is, notice we got, a higher low on the weekly. That's pretty good. We got point of control here. We got weekly pivot for next week right here. Can see we have a boring start to the week on a short week next week because of the holiday Monday, and then we get into the week. And next week is non-farm payroll at the end of the week, and I can only tell you what it's expected to read, and it's not good. It was a 73,000 prior, 74,000 jobs expected. You got one of the Fed governors, I think it was Waller, some speaking and forecast a bad report. It was like, numbers are not going to be good. So there's going to be volatility on that. One could anticipate, that how the market will receive that report, but it looks like it's not going to be a very good number. So anyway, I don't expect much up here, honestly. I think we get a little bit of maybe more follow through next week. It would go to 30.35 on the top. You got that 1272 extension at 30. It could go a little 30.35 on the top, not a lot. And with the volatility and the payroll report, I'll just say it this way. We want to see, can this higher low hold, i.e. next week does not breach this week's low. I anticipate that if it does, it's going to be late in the week on that payroll report, but that's when it gets a little shifty. So I can tell you that the low this week was that Tuesday pullback, and that was the exact midpoint of. Go to this daily chart now to be able to show you what I'm talking about. Of that Friday candle, that was Powell's speaking from the summit, and on that very range, we had the very next day was an inside range trade. That is one of our trade setups. It does say look for a bearish day the next day. It did. When it came back though, see, it held the midpoint of this very important candle. I believe that is what I refer to as a benchmark / reference candle. And with that, I asked the mid of that to hold. It did. So on volatility next week, if we get a little follow through, maybe more kind of down to the downside, 64.20-ish right down in there. That cannot surprise us given non-farm payroll late in the week, right? So a 64.20-ish. I'm gonna use. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it really simple. I'm gonna use the weekly pivot as my benchmark, i.e. lean long above, short below. Long above that, I'm going for the 65.30 and 35 targets on the top. Below that, weekly pivot, I will be looking to try to see it down for a little bit of volatility here. Not a lot. It's, I mean, look at if you look at it, think about it, we've been doing nothing but up, if not up, sideways to up since early April. So, you know, a little volatility wouldn't hurt. And the bear target would be right there at about 64.20. Okay. So it's really, really straightforward, simple. Use the weekly pivot as the lean long above, short below, at a bull target and a bear target, and a starting point. That's pretty straightforward, simple. Holiday Monday, volatility Friday. All right, we had a great week. You should really, if you have a think about it and would like, come join us, man, in the Voodoo Mastery at Simpler Trading. I'm telling you, I think we absolutely really did fantastic this week, and very happy about that. Wish you all a wonderful weekend, great trading, and look forward to being with you again at the next update. Take care.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me